we got started because we want Black to be positive as we move forward with this process, because it's a reset that's happening here in America and in Africa. And we all want to ride that wave, and we want that energy to be complete. So Dr. Justice, before we actually get into other news, which really is about Blacktown, and I share with everyone about Black being positive, won't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into our spiel.
Greetings again, all. My name is Sherman Justice. I have a title of doctorate in educational psychology that I received from first Chin University, which is the oldest historical Black university in the country, and then from Lincoln University, which is the second oldest Black university in the country, then through Walden University through a program at Morgan State College, this Morgan State University now. So my historical Blackness transcends from originally being born in Brooklyn, New York, moved to Baltimore, having been in the foster care system. The thing that led me to the process that we're undertaking now is that those processes herded me along in terms of where we've been. So when I came of age to really understand what my role was, I had to relearn my function. And in the learning of my function, I learned that functioning as a Black man in this country, I had to have certain inalienable rights put upon me in terms of that movement. Being in 7 foster homes, 3 group homes, 3 residential centers, all those things at that time were things that happened to me. But one consistent piece that stayed with me is that wasn't who I was, and it didn't make me who I was. And to piggyback on what Will had discussed, Will and I matriculated through Cheney State together in the early 80s. We became fraternity brothers in 1984 through Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, which was at that time, my estimation, one of the leading forces as to what we needed to do to reconcile our differences with what was happening to us in our own Black community. After 37 years of being involved with this organization, it hasn't satisfied me in terms of what it's represented and should represent. Hence the birth of Blacktown, Nubia. And I will say this, and I have to say this, and this is simple. Change doesn't happen the way we expect it to happen without traumatic events that accelerate thinking. And through the installation of Blacktown, Nubia, we want to make sure that those reactions don't take place over a decade or longer to hold itself within the consciousness of the community. So we've decided to create a social infrastructure based upon all of the things that we have experienced here in this country, a social infrastructure that will be in every city or state where there's an HBCU. There will be a Blacktown Nubia, and those Blacktown Nubias will start off with those social infrastructures that will be supported by analytics in terms of analysis of each structural piece that goes into it, i.e. Recreation, i.e. Social interactions, i.e. spiritual context, i.e. all of the things that make up a town in a sense. And to have a more complete definition of what Blacktown is, it's larger than a village and a little less larger than a city. So the people who will encompass this will be residents and merchants, and those residents and merchants will have the protection of what we now have and graduated to as a 508c1a status. That status will allow us to act as in privatization in terms of the movement of our banking, the movement of our social infrastructure and how we build it, from transportation all the way out to whatever we decide as a community what that should be. That's important because it allows us, as Brother Boyd mentioned a moment ago, to control the financial instruments in our communities. And one can liken Blacktown, Nubia to what Chinatown represents. Chinatown represents itself in every city just about and has its own autonomy, if you will. Blacktown, Nubia, under 508 status will have its individual status, allowing those businesses that are 501c3 businesses, those businesses that are LLC, C Corp, S Corp businesses to thrive without having the imprint of the social infrastructure that we're currently under and the financial system that we're currently under, still putting their knees on our necks, pardon the pun, in terms of our financial growth. Sister Jasondra mentioned a moment ago that the weight that we carry as Black men and women in this country equals out into trillions. My friend Will, my fraternity brother Will, broke that down to $2,600,000 per person, per family, per year. And that number can be then directed into a multiple stream of income under the infrastructure based on Blacktown Nubia's movements. So as we build in these places, the universities will become our evidence-based centers, if you will, for the data that we feed it, so that we take the analytic information that we have and we turn it into resources for our unborn. The purpose for Blacktown Nubia is not only the purpose for us as adults now, but for centuries of generations of unborn. We're using a model adapted by Dr. Claude Anderson, who I became familiar with in conversation some years ago, and his model of having a financial base and building a political base into a law enforcement court base, into a media base, and then education base is the basis of what we're doing with the infrastructure of Blacktown Nubia. Those infrastructures will also be analytically sound in terms of its movement, so that the universities that are in those areas will be allowed to use and aggregate that data to benefit the unborn, to benefit those who are currently in place with it, and to also benefit those who are returning citizens to our process. Our political movement under this social infrastructure will give us further protection for what we need. We are also into creating circular economics through that process and using powernomics, as I just mentioned from Dr. Claude Anderson. I've had conversations with Dr. Arikana as well in terms of the strength that they're building through through the ADDI and the building of Wakanda One Smart Cities. So again, having this platform that we're on now currently as a village, Blacktown Nubia fits in between that as the umbrella to what the village is, being a little larger than a village, but it's also less larger than a city. So the Wakanda One cities all match in terms of what we do. The growing factor of what we want to produce through that, again, is recognizing that the traumatic changes that need to take place have to happen financially. Unfortunately, as Sister Jasondra also mentioned, that becomes the elephant in the room. Brothers and sisters, we need to build our own wealth within our confines of our social infrastructure. Our way of doing that is introducing the wealth generating technology factory, which is why Oduwa Coin was chosen as one of those modes of income that we would be placing in our residents and our merchants' laps, is because we want to mine those currencies to make sure that we reparate our people. Because if we wait on our enemy to give us what they have given us, we'll keep getting what we're getting from them. So we urge each one of us to take advantage of the opportunities that we have, because again, reparation is at hand for us in terms of what we need. So again, moving on what Brother Will had mentioned on the ancestral front, is we have come together with our individual companies, and I'm also the CEO of a 501c3 by the name of the Yoruba Group, which stands for Youth Through Awareness, Heightens Racial Understanding, Beliefs, and Attitudes. And because we've grouped together that, we've taken the youth and we've created advocates for them, for the Youth for Awareness that heightens that racial understanding. We've taken the church that Pastor Will deems himself as the state deems himself as, and as a 501c3, in creating the social infrastructure for Blacktown Nubia. So Blacktown Nubia is not a business. It's not a set aside where we can put or project into it in terms of what a business plan may model itself out to be. Blacktown Nubia is a social infrastructure designed to protect us, provide us with wealth, and to provide us with protection for our unborn and our seniors as we move through a physical process into laying brick and mortar into the cities that we mentioned with the HBCUs. So the historical Black colleges and universities will benefit from having physical Blacktown Nubias there by allowing the universities to be the epicenters for data that we aggregate to them, and the use of those things that will put us in position to create generational wealth and to monitor and administer the wealth equally amongst ourselves and how we move forward. It's a generated idea that came into existence in 2012. I born the idea out of the need to have naissance, which is a French African word that means birth in terms of what Nubia represents. It's spelled N-E-W-B-I-A. Naissance, economic wealth between indigenous Aboriginal people. And because we are looked at in the world, on the world stage as consumers, we want to recalibrate that and make sure that as we move through this process, the unborn and the children that we are currently working with and working for have that knowledge that we bring into existence, that they can create generational wealth for the next 25, 30 years. And I'll leave you guys with this because, again, they told us 3 to 5 minutes, and I promise to be brief no matter how long it takes. So in terms of how this represents itself, we want to make sure that we want to make sure that as we move this process forward, we leave you guys not only with a direction of what we're doing, but a firm understanding of what Blacktown Nubia truly represents. It represents all of us. It represents our individual selves. It represents our collective selves, and it represents our higher self. So as we move this process together, we urge everyone, and I'm sure Brother Will at some point will put the page back up on this platform for us. Please go in. We have ways to make contributions to the process. We have ways to endow the endowment, and we even have a platform by which the wealth generating technology can be built with the help of all of us, because with the least amount of us comes the most from us. So the more of us that we have in this process, it's going to be highly important and effective that we take those aggregated numbers that Sister Jasondra mentioned earlier, and we turn them into our favor. Our way of doing this through Blacktown Nubia is, again, to create the wealth generating technology factory that we will be able to endow each person and the building, the physical building of Blacktown Nubia, to do that. The Yaruba group is also in the process now of building homes in Chester, Pennsylvania. And through those homes in Chester, Pennsylvania, we're moving up to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, we're going to get maybe 1, 2, or 3 blocks that we will be able to initiate Blacktown Nubia's basic footprint. From that, we will have housing, we will have businesses that will run under the auspices of the 508, allowing it the practice and that private freedom that's there. We have one of our experts who is our mining expert, actually, on this process, that had introduced us to Oduwa Coin and introduced us to the process of what that is. His name is Brother Ernesto Jackson. And Ernesto is one of our great minds that we have in our community, by which we also have engineers that have the ability to change water into gasoline, the ability to render gunpowder inert because of the vibrational understanding of how gunpowder works and moves. So we have the greatness amongst us. We need to create a platform, as Dr. Claude Anderson has sent us to do through Powernomics, that has a financial base, a political base, a law enforcement court base, a media base, and an education base. And there's a reason why I set up in those 5 pillars are set up in that fashion to support the economic wealth that we're building. So again, that protection is there for us, brothers and sisters. We need to take advantage of it, as Sister Jasondra said and Sister Tanya echoed. So now I pass this back to the 2 of them, and I hope I was as brief, no matter how long it took, in terms of this process. And please ask any questions that you need to have, because we're here to represent that for you. And again, there is no elephant in the room. And if there is, we're going to eat it one bite at a time.
Now, Sister Jasondra, the one thing is, Dr. Justice mentioned the 508c1a. It's a private organization. And I want people to understand that's not related to a 501c3. I just wanted to comment on that, because most people may say, what does that mean? That gives us the ability to build and protect not only on a local level, but a global level. See, most people are into entrepreneurship. Blacktown has created an umbrella through this private organization where it can build and protect. So as we look at the financial literacy programs we have, as we look at controlling the financial instruments, as we look at building financial and generational wealth, if we're not able to protect it, it's going to be a problem. And see, I want people to be clear on this, that when Dr. Justice tell you about a social infrastructure, this is not an entrepreneurial program. This is a cultural movement. This is about a people, and it can enhance their lives on a global scale. So I want you to know, as the administrators did this and set this up for us, you may know of the Mormons. It's beyond that. It's very important to understand that you're going to have the protection to build and protect. And one of the pieces under the social infrastructure is law enforcement. Politics is under there. There's several things under there. I can't go to these cities and say, well, you know, we have this strategy of being in the black and not have a social infrastructure. You have to have a social infrastructure to make sure that you move this forward, and they understand that as we build, we can protect. And I just wanted to put that out there so that can be on record, so people can know exactly what that 508c1A private organization is.
And the word organization diminishes it in some aspects as to relegation. So we don't want to relegate it that it's not an organization that requires a business plan, not an organization that requires some sort of write-up that does it. And again, I'm not the expert on the 508. I just knew that was a course that we had to take in order to make the infrastructure sound. So, but what I do know about the 508, that it gives us the protection to practice the powernomics that Dr. Claude Anderson speaks of, and to create the social infrastructure that we're building. The social infrastructure will then allow us to do things outside of what was known, some people know it as the straw man. So that process will give us the ability to be independent collectively. We don't want to create a situation for us as black people around the world where we are constantly fighting for the same or veering for the same dollar. We want to create cooperation. So this process of Blacktown Nubia's infrastructure almost becomes like a cooperative, if you will. A cooperative that's going to be built on a sound financial base that will allow us to move through the other four pillars that we mentioned in the building of the social infrastructure.
Okay. That is very, very, very interesting and powerful, I might add. And I really, really appreciate you, both of you brothers, coming out and giving us that information of something that is so vitally needed within our community globally. And it's perfect. And this is exactly what we're talking about, what we need. And I can't wait till everybody is able to collaborate together and to see that, to fulfill that. So I'm very excited about you guys' project, and I'm looking forward to us being, all of us being a part of it and working together. I'm going to segue on over now to Dr. Diana. Dr. Diana Gray, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello?
Are you here, beautiful? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. How are you,
Can
sis?
you guys hear me?
Yes, Tanya, we can hear you, sweetheart.
Very, very good. How are you doing?
Great, great, great. It's a wonderful weekend here in New York. Just raining as usual. Rain. I'm just waiting for it to snow. May as well.
So can you tell us?
How are you guys doing? Hello, everyone. Hi, Jasondra. Hello, Mr. Missing in Action, Blacktown Nubia, and Brother Wills. It's okay. Before I go back to my sister Tanya here, who's going to, I guess, tell me what I need, Brother Will and Mr. Jackson, in regards to the Blacktown, I just so happen to have my finger on 1,700 acres of beautiful, pristine land in Jamaica with 1,700, yes, with 700 of those acres being white sand beach. And it's for exactly what you're speaking about. Is the whole plans there is for the shipport, the airport, bringing in the law enforcement, just building a whole of the Black Town right there. So just reminds me to go over that with you all privately afterwards. So
Dr. Gray, I want to say, I wasn't living in action. We were actually moving in action. So the MIA in our sense is moving in action. And it's good to hear your voice, because that's what we need to do. So we've been busy securing the 508. That's just why, for me, which is why I haven't been prevalent on the platforms. And again, I'm not mansplaining. I'm just trying to make sure that moving in action is MIA.
Mansplaining, because you know it definitely doesn't work in she work. Okay. So go ahead, Tanya. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, perfectly fine. Dr. Diana, we just want you to tell this woman, you guys don't know, this sister, she is so beautiful. She has so many different hats that she's wearing. She's part of organizations. She's helping the youth. Dr. Diana, I just want you to go ahead and tell everybody what you're all about. Tell them about your credentials and tell them what your organizations are, so they have an idea of what you do.
Oh, wow. Is that what this is about? I thought I was supposed to be here to talk about somebody else, not myself. Many hats for all my many different personalities. I think I found out that I have multiple personalities because it's needed, because it's different cultures that we meet each day. And you know, it was Shakespeare that said, and I'm pretty sure Shakespeare was probably another one of us that they stole, where he said, we wear a face to greet the faces that we meet, and all the world's a stage. So all the different hats represent different things that I am passionate about, but it all comes back to one thing: the love for my people, and making sure that they don't cut us off at our knees, meaning by, continuing to kill our legacy, which is our children. So I have to make sure I go around the world and put my foot on them so they don't do that. I have to make sure I go around the world and enlighten and elevate and educate our young children so that they know who they are and what they're born to be. So with that said, I have 100 Hearts, which is a children's NGO started right here in New York. Then it branched out to Jamaica, my first love in the Caribbean, and then West Africa, and now we're looking at South Africa and East Africa with Kenya and Uganda, those places. And basically, to be very brief, what 100 Hearts does is what 100 Hearts does is we train children to look out for and be the brothers keepers of other children that are less fortunate than themselves, no matter how less fortunate they themselves are. If you could understand what I mean, our motto is, those that have little still have more than those that have none. So we can always afford to share. Because here's the philosophy behind that. If you and I, Tanya, are left in the jungle and we have one slice of bread, I have that slice of bread and I refuse to share it with you. So you, God forbid, perish. I'm still left alone. I eat that bread and I live for that day. But what about tomorrow? I'm left alone to do what by myself tomorrow, to go searching for more bread? But if I share that bread with you, you and I live to see tomorrow to search together for more bread. So that's just, it's a little simple thing. My head works differently from other people. And so I come up with all these little things. But that's enough about me. I want to talk about a young man that I met recently, Timothy Baird. Finally, you can see him, guys, and you can see, I teased him when I said Timothy Baird. I'm pretty sure that you did not have that beard before you got the name Timothy Baird, because your mother had a lot of heartburn. I know about heartburn. My daughter had so much hair. So I'm looking at him and go, wow, Timothy Baird, and he has this beard. So that's just a total side joke. But Timothy Baird is someone that I've gotten to hero on me. I really respect this brother. I love this brother. This brother is, when you look up the word integrity in any dictionary written anywhere, you're going to see a picture of Timothy Bear. He is for the people. He is, he's an advocate in every sense of the word. He is a brother. You know that brother that you can go to and talk about anything. And I've tested him, because this is what I do with people. I test them to see if they walk the talk, or talk the walk, or do what they really say. Because everybody looks good when they come on Zoom or they want to push their agenda. So I've tested him with little things, just mention little things to him. And he has passed the test every single time. Timothy is a person that does the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. Not because someone's watching, not because he may make some money from it, not because he wants to build himself, but he's just one of those guys. And I'm suspecting that maybe I need to go on down to Memphis, Tennessee, and find my next husband, because I introduced him to someone, and they said, "Where are you from, Timothy?" And he said, "Tennessee." And he said, "Oh, brothers in Tennessee is smart. I've always known that." And I'm thinking, this is a man that is super smart, saying that the brothers in Tennessee are really smart. And I was trying to remember, that's not where Morehouse is. So how did they get super smart? We know this because Tim care business. And he didn't just, that's what children in high school do. They get themselves a lawnmower, they go out and they make some extra cash or something. But Timothy did this because he is from Memphis, Tennessee, from my neighborhood. The people there can't really afford to beautify their homes. And we know that we really do. So Timothy saw the need to make it financially affordable to make your home, to beautify your home. So he did this lawn service and he offered it then he went on to work in the local utility company. While doing that, of course, again, Timothy be treated equal there. So he joined with did something about it. I'm going to let him tell you all more about him up there. Even though he has left that, he starts legacy building. That's I think he's a legacy builder. Key girl. So all of you guys that are looking at Timothy, some people like men with beard, and she don't play around. So just take your eyes off of brother. Just forget about that. Timothy, which sometimes when I think of him, Timothy got me so hyped, y'all, on his now entrepreneur thing that he's doing, that 3 times, and I don't mind sharing this with y'all. I'm not ashamed to share this with y'all. 3 times I picked up my phone to call Timothy to introduce him to his organization. I was so hyped about the organization that I was calling all my friends and telling them about it. And I called Timothy. When he got on the phone, I was like, "Oh, wait, this is Timothy." 3 times I did that. I told him, and he just laughed so hard because I was like, "Wait a minute, Donna, you're really going to tell Timothy about T and OLB?" Now, what is T and OLB? Timothy, from what you all might have gathered right now from me just saying a couple of things about him, Timothy believes that no one should be left behind. So that is what T and OLB is. Team, no one left behind. Now, we hear this all the time. We hear it takes a village. We hear nobody should be left behind, no child left behind. But how many of us are really doing something about it and taking the stance and stamping that TNOLB right there and taking it out to the masses. It's a wonderful organization that he started. I'm going to not speak too much about it because I want him. It's his baby. It's his brainchild. It's all of us here on this call. And remember last time I spoke, I tell you all that your job is to each one tell three, and those three tell three. So we are all going to be a part of Team No One Left Behind at some aspect of it because it's growing. I'm not going to say too much about it, like I said, but I can tell you all that. I'm not going to speak too long because I don't know how to be brief no matter how long it takes. I just know how to blah, 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 blah. So if I talk too long, which I told myself I'm not going to do because I got 1 or 2 minutes, I am going to continue. And that position of being brief, no matter how long it takes, belongs to someone else. So I'm just going to say this. This is my thing. My thing is, don't wait to be great. Do not wait to be great. Be great and wait for the chance and the opportunity to elevate others. So don't wait to be great and wait to elevate. And with that, I will give it back to Tanya. And I guess, I don't know, do you want me to introduce Brother Timothy or will you do the honors?
Actually, you can do the honors because you you have to, definitely have connection with Timothy, and I wouldn't want to take that away from you. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Okay, Timothy, drum roll, please. You guys, here's Brother Timothy, the advocate, the entrepreneur, the father, the son, the big brother. He's my big brother in my head. Sometimes I want to do something, but sometimes people get on your nerves and you just want to get them back. So now instead of getting them back, I call Timothy. And he said, well, Dr. Gray, no, that's voice. All right, I'm going to be nice. So, Brother Timothy, welcome. Welcome to the Trust Village. Welcome to your new family.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Gray. And let me tell you all, I feel very honored to have Dr. Gray introduce me. The other speakers, you all will have, I'm sure, great people to introduce you, but I have been introduced by Dr. Gray, and I didn't come planning to dance or do anything like that, but I feel like I should after that great introduction. So thank you so much, Dr. Gray. It was a true honor. I think you really nailed the nail on the head as far as the information that you gave out, my personality, because I am the type of person that will do the right thing for my people. It is so very important to me to do the right thing by other individuals. That is an issue. So guess who is up to prove that we can trust one another? It's up to you and I, the leaders. It's up to those individuals that see a need and start fulfilling it. And it's up to us to put that trust out there. So individuals within our own communities, they know, hey, I could go to Bank of America, I could go to Regions Bank, I could go to any other place, any other institution that has all the credentials in the world. But guess what I'm going? I'm going to my brother and my sister because I know that I can trust them. And that's what we have got to build within our own communities. I know that Jasondra, she talked about, and let me say thank you to the brothers that spoke earlier. I think it was Brother Will, and I didn't catch the other individual's name.
Dr. Justice, yeah.
Okay, Dr. Justice, and was it Brother Will?
Yes.
Brother Will. Right. Yeah, because everybody here that I've heard so far, we're talking about the exact same things, but different ways to get there. So I think that's very important because whether it's Oduwa Coin, whether it's the institutions, the neighborhoods, the platforms that Brother Will and the doctor are speaking about, it's very important that they're talking about coming together, building our own. One thing that I've learned when I became an entrepreneur, I worked for 12 years at the local utility company. Getting up at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, being there at 6 o'clock, usually wouldn't leave until around 10 or 11. This was all day, all night. But in my area, one of the things that was really really promoted as, hey, this was a good job to have, is with the utility company. And, you know, working all day, working all night, doing things like that, I learned that you give away your life. You give away many of your dreams to do some things just to get a certain dollar amount. And when I left there, what I learned more than anything is that when someone's giving you the scale, someone's giving you the measuring stick, then you're judging everything by what they're giving you and what they're telling you. And so when I left the job and I found out how much opportunity is available when we began to do things ourselves, when we began to pay ourselves, when we began to learn about opportunities ourselves, it blew out any other job that I could have gotten, any other opportunity through, you know, how we're taught, everything else. And that taught me that the average person can make a true difference. It gives over to other communities, other cultures on a daily basis, on a yearly basis. And why is that important? Because they build their business upon us. Everything that they do, many of the products that they come out with, many of the institutions they build, many of the companies they put in place are set up to market to individuals just like you and I. And what are we here talking about today? We're talking about setting up our own, but it comes with a certain mindset. I read something very important the other day. We will look at $1,000 and we won't see that $1,000, or we won't see the opportunity to put $1,000 into something that brings money back to us as important. But we'll pay $1,000 for a phone. We'll pay $1,000 for a television. We'll sit and we'll watch Netflix for 6, 8, 9 hours a day, but we won't dedicate 2.5 hours to learning something new that's going to benefit us, that's going to benefit our children generations from now. So it's about changing the mindset, using what's already there, because if we're already giving the trillions of dollars away, it's just about redirecting it, putting it in the right place. So that's really what our focus is. I wanted to share a little bit about TNOLB, Team No One Left Behind. And the reason we went with that name is because it's for the average person, it's for the genius among us, it's before those that are operating below level. Because if everyone makes a decision, whether they know exactly what's going on, whether they understand it or not, but if they make a decision to do it, it changes our communities. It changes where we're headed. We don't understand how the Zoom works. A lot of individuals don't understand how their smartphones work. But guess what? The average person can pick it up and they can influence that market by buying their product or whatever they're doing. So you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to do this. You just have to understand that you are a part of something that can make a difference. And so TNOLB, what we're currently doing, this started April the 1st. We are using the power of group economics, just like it sounds like everyone else here is doing the same exact thing. Using that power of group economics, group funding, and what we're doing is we're acquiring assets. This began April the 1st. Right now we went through, let me look at my time. I don't want to go too far over. So what we're doing right now, we have already vetted out the trucking industry. We're investing in trucks right now. We did this on an individual basis. We went through, we saw that it was profitable, very concrete, very sustainable. And once we saw that as the managers of the company, once we saw that, we knew that we had to bring this to our members. So our members, beginning April 1st, every member that comes into our organization, those funds are going to purchase trucks that bring back profits to our members. We pay our members through a chronological system. Why do we do it through a chronological system? Because we do not want to pay out a small amount to, let's say, 100,000 members or 10,000 members, whatever the case may be. We want to change lives. We're setting up a company that's going to literally be bringing in millions of dollars on a monthly basis. This is all set up over time, of course, on a monthly basis. And our number one goal is to pay those profits to our members so that we can change lives. I want you to imagine if the money that you were making when you were 18, remember when I was talking about when Dr. Gray told you all about me cutting grass and doing things like that. If I had the mindset where we're training our members and exposing our members to now, where they knew when they were 18 that money was still going to be working for them 10 and 20 years from now. Think about the money that you made when you were 18, when you were 20. If that money was still making money for you today, how would it change your life? how would you be able to take that money and decide, hey, this is going to be the funds used to educate my child. This is going to be the funds used to start up a business. It's all about planning. You know, we talked about the Black communities. We talked about coming together. And we all know that at some point, other nationalities, other cultures had to come together to do what? To take us out of the position of leadership that we were in. If you don't think that they had to overlook their differences to do what they wanted to do back then we need to study history a little more. We've got to go back. There were so many different individuals that had to come together to overthrow the greatest empire that ever existed. And that is going to come back. But one of the main things that we're focused on, this is not about prayer. It's not about deciding if it's the right thing to do. It's not about thinking about it. It is looking at what's in front of us, looking at the dangers that are in front of us right now. And what are they? They are, I know that Jasondra, Tanya spoke about it. They are setting up a system that does not include or need us. And if we do not do it ourselves, if we're waiting on someone else to do it for you, then we're putting ourselves in a dangerous position. Regardless of what your faith is, if you know that your tomorrow depends on your actions today, will you live a little bit different? Will you live for tomorrow? And that's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on numbers. We're focusing on making sure that the money that we have today is going to be working for us years and years in the future and working for our children. So we're putting things together through the platform that we have already. We're poised for our people to come together that see it. Now, you all know that run within these circles, within the organizations that are building, that everyone is not going to get it. So we are taking it personally. Hey, if it comes out of our pocket to build it, we'll build it. If the community comes together, if they see it, if they see the vision that the leaders within this organization have, then of course things move faster. But regardless, we're setting it up so that it's sustainable. It stays within our organization. It stays set up as it is for years. 80% of every one of all the profits, whether it's coming from trucking, real estate, investments, wherever those profits are coming from, the company is built. So 80% goes back to our members through that chronological system. Our website, forgive me, is tnolb.net. Our members, they pay $500. That's a one-time membership fee, but it's a lifetime membership. So any individual that becomes a part of our organization, that $500 will continue to make money for them years in the future. The more assets that we acquire, the more profits come back to those individuals through those chronological system. Again, it's tnolb.net. And if individuals, one last thing, and I promise I'm done, Tanya and Jasondra, one last thing is that we want our system, our platform, to be accessible by many individuals. So if an individual cannot afford $500, they can give us a call at 901-503-1202, and we can talk about setting up installments so those individuals can come in regardless of where they are, their financial position right now. All right, so thank you all so much for your time, and thank you, Trust Village, for giving me the opportunity to share that with you all. We really look forward to working with you all in the future. Again, Dr. Gray, I cannot say thank you enough for that beautiful introduction. And I'm going to, I think that the itinerary call for me to pass it on to Celine.
Oh, not yet, not yet. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for you guys. Everybody that is speaking is very, very powerful because this is exactly what we're talking about. All of this thing, everything links up together like a puzzle piece perfectly. I mean, can you see it? I mean, everything is just perfect. It fits together perfectly like a puzzle. I just want to, I want to bring Jasondra back on, and then she's going to introduce the next person that's going to be speaking. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that spoke so far. I can see it. I'm very engaged. I'm very interested. It's all very powerful. And Jasondra, you have the floor.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This has been a magnificent day. You know how you have this, vision in your mind, this idea, and when it comes to light, when it actually flourishes and actually happens is just so rewarding, and it just touches my heart. So I'm so excited. And just like I shared before, this is just the beginning, family. We're going to continue to do this every 2 weeks, probably throughout the rest of the year, because this is an important conversation. We got to continue to have this. And I'm talking, we can start small and work it on up. We can start as small as, go on each other's platforms and like, comment, and share their information. We can start there. That don't cost you anything. I mean, just like, comment, and share so the algorithm of their platforms can get more visibility. Just start there, And so I'm so excited. And so I want to introduce the next speaker. And this is a perfect example of sharing, not finding out about somebody amazing and keeping it to yourself. Finding out about different platforms and keeping it to yourself. I have a dear friend who's part of the village, who you guys would be blessed in the near future to hear from her. She's an international podcaster, and she just, reached out to me. She knows I'm juggling blessings, and you guys who all know me, I don't say I'm busy, because busy stands for being under Satan's yoke. I don't say I'm busy, because you can say you busy, and you don't get nothing done. So I say I'm juggling blessings, and I'm juggling, and I am not dropping one thing. So I'm juggling blessings, because we can do more than one thing, especially us women out there. She-ros, we can do more than one thing at one time. We are master multitaskers. And so my friend knew I'm juggling, but she knew that I needed to meet some dynamic sisters, international business women, entrepreneurs. They were having a conference, and she told me, you need to go on and jump on in there and listen to these ladies. And I'm like, okay, where am I going to fit this into my schedule? But I did. I got on, and I met the most magnificent ladies and end up partnering up with one of them. And we're getting ready to do something so massive. We're going to change the world. We're going to change lives. And you all, every last one of you on this call, are going to benefit from the service that we're going to be providing. Trust me when I tell you. But with that being said, I'm going to introduce this wonderful sister. She's originally from the Congo. She now resides in Texas, Dallas, Texas, I believe. She's an amazing businesswoman. I'm somewhat sensitive about tearing up people's names. So I have a nickname for her. I call her Sister JB. Her first name is Jeanine. I don't even want to touch the last name, but I call her JB for short. She has an amazing, she juggles blessings as well. And I'm going to let her share her story, share her different companies that she have. Talented sister. And one of the things that I love about her in particular, she has investors, a pool of investors that she works with that will connect folks here in the States or anywhere in the world, because we're everywhere, we're the original people, that are interested in doing business in Africa. She connects those dots. She also is very, very, very talented and gifted in getting people set up with government contracts and getting that money out there, because especially in, like, for example, in LA, it's multiple millions of dollars out there. You got the Olympics coming. It's so much going on. And people from all over the world come and build right in our neighborhood. And you don't see one black face. You don't see nobody out there cracking ground. You don't even see anybody part of the construction. You don't see anybody. And so I love that she is like many other individuals I know who is changing that dynamic. We're making sure that our folks get access to some of these contracts and some of this money's out there. Because like I said before, we annually spend $1.4 trillion, annually in the ecosystem of the United States. We're not even talking about, the entire world. I'm talking about US of A. So we have power, and we need to embrace it. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce this wonderful sister. Her name is Jeanine, aka JB, and I'm going to pass the mic to her and let her share her story, what she's doing, and one thing that she has in common with everybody on this call: she sees Oduwa, she understands Oduwa, she sees what it's going to do for our people globally. So, without further words to say and share, can you guys join me in welcoming Miss Jeanine. Jeanine, are you there, my sister?
I am there. Thank you so much, Sister Jasondra. And I'm very glad. I'm very, very glad to be actually part of the village, because I just want to give a very short description about how Sister Jasondra. I love the word, the trusted village. And I told her so many other times that, because that's really what I'm all about really empowering. And that's what she does 24 hours. So I'm very glad to be in this platform. She became my sister. Like the minute we connect at the conference.
You can't hear her?
No, I cannot.
Oh, Jeanine, they can't hear you, sweetheart.
We can't hear Janine.
Oh, we can hear. Oh, because I'm on StreamYard, probably that's why. I can go on Zoom, and I can start here and then go on.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, she's gonna jump on.
So while
She's gonna jump on, you guys. She's doing StreamYard at the same time, but I think she's gonna go ahead and end that and get on.
Okay, just a moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, so while we're waiting for Janine, just want to say I'm very happy that we have so many different influential people that have joined us. This is going to